In this video, I'm going to tell you how to start a business in Alberta as a sole proprietor. Now, what I'm going to do is break down what you need to do and the costs. Then I'm going to tell you what I thought was going to happen. And then I'm going to tell you what actually happened starting a business here. Now, some of the reasons you might want to start a business is because you're working for someone you're like, fuck, that guy's dumb. I can do it better than him. And that's kind of the thing that happens to most of the guys that start businesses. Okay, things you're gonna need to do. First, you're gonna go into the registry office and register your business name. So you gotta find a business name. Mine was Wiersmerica Window Washing and Maintenance. So I went in there, I typed it in, there's no one with that name, and that cost a whopping $60. Next, if you're going to start a business, you're going to need insurance. So you're going to call your insurance broker and say, hey, I'm starting a business as a window washer. They're going to ask you some questions. They're going to answer them. And to start the business, it costs me about $750 a year for the business insurance. Next, for me, I needed to get insurance for my truck because I need a truck to haul my ladders, equipment, stuff like that. So the insurance for the truck is $150 a month, which is about $1,800 a year. Next, I had to go get a truck and a canopy to start the business. So I got a diesel truck. I'll explain why I got a diesel truck later on. And I needed a canopy, so the truck and canopy cost me roughly about $6,000. Next, I needed my supplies. My supplies was my pressure washer, my squeegees, my mops, a whole bunch of other stuff, rags, and all that stuff came to about $1,100. Now, I didn't know this at the beginning because I am a solo worker. I have no one working for me. I did not need WCB, but I did get it, and that cost me $416 for the year. But it is a great selling feature. A lot of people always ask me, do you have your WCB? And I say, I certainly do. And I show them, ooh, look at that. Lovely, very lovely. And the last thing is what I highly recommend is you open a business account at your bank. Keep your personal and business stuff separate. It's just easier for tax purposes. Also, you get a cool little Visa card with a $30,000 limit. Woo, baby. Yeah, so that just keeps things separate. It's easier to do your books and finances when you're doing tax time. So that's kind of the basic, just how you start a business in Alberta. It's not that hard, it's pretty simple. Now, the next thing is what I thought was going to happen when I started this business. First of all, I thought I was going to own my own time. Ooh, everybody wants that. I'm going to do what I want, work when I want, shit like that. Next, I thought I would work 5 to 6 days a week, and I was only going to do 8 hours a day, right? The next thing is when I called the insurance company that it would just be a one simple call and then everything would be sorted out. When I bought my diesel truck from the auction, I didn't think there's going to be too many problems with it, getting a diesel truck for $4,000. So I thought there would be minimum maintenance, but yeah, we'll get into that. And then the reason why I bought the truck was I was going to be a mobile window washing unit. I was going to go travel through BC, hit all the different towns, do a bunch of hikes, and basically live a great life of window washing and hiking. Now, this is what I wanted in a perfect world. I knew there'd be unforeseen factors, but in the end, reality came, and reality was a lot different than what I thought it was going to be, and there were some great benefits and some disadvantages as well. So I'm going to get into what actually happened, but the reason why I started the business was I did not want to work for people anymore because I thought I was smarter than them and that I can make more money as my own person. Next was write-offs. I really am interested in write-offs. So tax write-offs to lower income. Lower income means less taxes. I wanted to just understand how business works. So instead of going to university for 4 years on business, I'm just going to start a business and get a PhD on how a business works. And I'm going to tell you all what I've learned in the last 2 months on how a business works. Okay, what actually happened? Well, holy fucking shit. 8 hours a day out the fucking window. That is gone. So waking up at 6 or 7, you're trying to get all your ducks in a row. So there's like, when you start a business, there's a plethora of problems that need to be solved. The easiest thing was getting the business name registered and opening the bank account. So that was okay. Hey, yeah, this is my business name. You type in a computer, they gave me it, I paid them, that was it. I went to the bank, told them my business name, told them what I was interested in and the products that they had, and they gave me the business account, gave me the visa, and we were online. Super easy. Things that were a bit crazy and stressful. So I just came back from Ecuador. I just finished building my dream house, and I came back broke and in debt. So when I started this business, I literally had no money. I had zero money. I was in debt. And then, so there's a lot of pressure there to get this going as fast as humanly possible. So negative money. And then what happened was I was going to get the truck and the trailer, and I was going to go through BC. So I got the diesel truck. The diesel truck had a lot more issues than we thought. There's a lot more rust. It needed to pass inspection. So that was an absolute fiasco. That created an immense amount of stress. And I basically had to change fenders, had to get rid of rust, sandblasting, welding in new bars, everything you can imagine. So that took a lot of time. I would take it to the inspector. He'd say it doesn't pass. I'd go back. We would go fix things up, take it back. The inspecting guy wasn't there. He was on holidays. He came back, worked on the truck some more. A lot of stuff because you can't insure it until it passes inspection. So that was an absolute stressful moment. Next was the insurance. So that would be a simple thing. But you have to remember, when you start a business, you're basically like a child. You don't have a clue about anything. You know nothing. Absolutely nothing. So when I was talking to the insurance company, they're asking me questions I just didn't have the answer to. They're like, what kind of buildings are you going to do? I'm like, I'm going to do all the buildings. She's like, how high are the buildings going to be? It's like, every height. So I kept giving them stupid answers because I just didn't know. Now I know I'm going to do residential 2-story buildings and commercial buildings that are 2 stories. And simple things like that really would have helped if I knew. So that was the one thing. And then because my truck didn't have inspection, or I'm sending them the wrong documents because I thought it was going to be a personal truck, but it has to be a business truck. These are all these things. So they were giving me calls like, Ryan, you are not going to be insured with your truck. And I'm like, no, you got to keep me insured. I'm working right now. So it was a lot of finding these paperwork, sending it to them, which created more stress. So when you start a business, you just don't know anything. And these are just the curves of starting a business. You're just like, oh my God, I wish I had more information. I don't have information. Next, I never ever washed a window in my life. So I didn't know how to, first of all, do window washing. Next, I didn't know how to quote a job. So I was lucky enough to meet a guy that helped me figure out how to quote a job. And then when I started quoting jobs, because I wasn't very quick, I wasn't very fast, I had to charge more because I was not very good or fast. And eventually, as time went by, I got better at quoting. So quoting was a disaster as well. I'd quote jobs way too cheap, and I would spend 5 hours working for $200. So that wasn't great either. So that was another learning curve for starting a business. There's things you just don't know. Next, I thought I was going to go through BC and be a mobile window washing unit. So I got my trailer, I got my truck, and we were a mobile unit. So that was really cool until I started to get all my stuff here. So I got my insurance, my truck, and I was a fully operational unit. And I started to work here in Edmonton. And I started getting a lot of clients. And I started building relationships with them. So that was a great thing. And my mind started to work just like, if I can build a giant clientele basis, then when I come back next year, I can just go to the same people, build a bond, and then I'll have a whole bunch of clientele for next year. So the BC trip went out the window because I was thinking to myself, if I'm going to be working like 10 hours a day, why would I go to BC when all I focus is on work? I might as well just still stay here, build up a giant clientele basis, and then next year when I show up, I don't have to door knock. I can just go to all these clientele and then, book them in like a solid 2 months and make a whole bunch of profit, maybe hire extra help and grow the business that way. So that was one of those thought processes in my head. And that's why I'm still here in Edmonton, because I just want to get as many people as possible. I take down their information, and then next year I'm going to door knock them and say, hey, I'm back and I'd love to wash your house. I did a really good job last year and whatnot like that. So those are the things, like what my vision was at the beginning to where my vision is now and how things have changed. So it's just, when you start a business, you have an idea of where it's going to go, and then as more factors arise, it changes. And that's one of the coolest things that I kind of understood about business is it's so interestingly complex. It's not just, hey, I'm knocking on a door and selling windows. It's like, I got to look for a certain clientele that doesn't want to wash windows, or is too old to wash windows, or doesn't have enough time to wash windows, right? So I'm looking for a specific clientele. And when you're doing these things, you got to do a really good job so you can build up rapport for next year. And you got to take all their information. And it's just such an interesting thing. Like, how many angles can you get just on something as simple as window washing? And another really crazy thing that when I started window washing was there's a lot of windows in the world. Like, it's incredible. Just look around. There is a lot of windows to wash. So this is not just I want to start a window washing business. This is like, where is there a problem in the world? Where can I add value? So this is a whole different way of thinking, which is pretty cool. Because I was an employee. I worked in oil and gas. And my job was, okay, I got to go work today and I got to look busy. And there's some days where you're just not going to look busy. And you got to pretend to look busy. And, you're kind of doing this, act. And with your own business, there's no acting. It's like, how do I shave off as much time as possible? How do I get my shit efficient and intelligent? What can I do to save time? How do I bring more value to my customer? Where can I expand window washing? Do I figure out how to do skyscrapers? Like, where do you go? And that's kind of the interesting thing about business. There are so many angles. And if you find an angle that someone hasn't figured out, it's just like cha-ching, cash cow, right? So that is a really cool, interesting thing about starting a business. It's just not, hey, I'm washing a window. It's like, how can I generate leads? So that's basically my input on the window washing, how to start it, what I thought was going to happen, and what actually happened. And I hope this helps. And of course, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments. Thank you.